Alright, so you're new to the MLA. How long have you been in the MLA for?
Well, I'm not even sure. Like 2 months, maybe.
Okay. So it's been a while, so it's just taken a while to kind of get a review sorted.
Mm.
Okay. And you're a master, are you a Tristana OTP or is this one champ in your pool?
Oh, it's just one champion.
Okay. So what is your pool?
So, um, I think I've been stabilizing my pool recently because it's been hard overall for me to pick champions I like.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing so lots of Azir, and I think I want Azir to be my main,
Okay.
and I'd like to have Tristan and Talia aside of him.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so why this VOD? What did you want to look for today?
So basically, what happened is early game we were doing kind of good, and then it felt just weird. Like I like to split push a lot with
Okay.
Tristana, and I felt like just team was doing stuff on the map and it went wrong. And when I tried to help, I didn't manage to do so. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look. So what's the build path for Tristana mid nowadays? So I haven't actually seen Tristana mid since like the big patch. Is it Gale Force or what do you go?
So I like to do Kraken and then Gale Force.
Okay, Kraken Gale Force. And then whatever you need, like, LDR
Yeah,
or whatever.
BG, LDR, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you played Tristana mid?
1 year, I will say.
Great. So we've got a beautiful little slow build here. Excellent. Do you take Demolish?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Must match up. Like sometimes I know I will not be able to push the it, and I take conditioning instead.
Good. Yeah, I'm a fan of Demolish. I talked to a really good Tristana mid on my server, and we had this big conversation. I can send you this thing that he sent me, kind of like his philosophy on Tristana mid. It'd be obviously the build part of it might be a bit outdated, but it'd be interesting to kind of share with you his philosophy on the champ. But for him, he really, really, really emphasizes plates. Like that's kind of like his main focus on the champion. Like he deems a lot of his lanes failures unless he gets 3 plates or whatever. But anyway, let's get into this. Let's see if we could have got more damage off here. So we end up getting a nice little stack. We use this time to get a bit of a deep wood here. Could we have got it earlier? I mean, what you might have actually been able to do here, typically when I'm playing champions that are very, I've got a very sizable wave and I want to like bully under tower, is try to ward before the wave actually crashes. That way that I don't waste time, because ideally you want to get every little bit of value out of the wave crashing under the tower. So what you actually could have done after these 2 melees, if you'd actually got those 2 melees from over here, you could have actually walked down and got a ward. Alternatively, even back here, right here. Even right here, because all the minions that you can just walk through here, it's no way you're going to get level 3 ganked by a Rumble at this time anyway. So you can just walk over here, duck off, get a ward, beautiful, and then come back. And then that's going to allow you to actually utilize this slow build properly under the tower, because it doesn't feel good, does it, to kind of have this wave, and then you have to walk over and let Kiana hit, thin the wave out.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very good, indeed.
Because you might have been able to get a Demolish proc there, potentially. So what were you trying to do from a wave management perspective here?
I guess I was trying to somewhat freeze the wave to get some trade. But, well, obviously I'm Tristana, so I'm not gonna freeze for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, looks like Rumble shows topside. Okay, we have a little bit of move. They actually need to get the wave in, so this is actually a good roam. kill the Rumble. Nice. Nice. It's a very high percentage roam, right? And the only reason it's high percentage is because of the wave state. To try to thin it out.
I'm gripping here.
So was your intention to prevent it from crashing so that it would freeze, right?
Well, right now I think it. Yeah, here I didn't want it to crash, and now there is a ward in the bush, so yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, you were going to lose that farm under your tower anyway, so I don't think it really changes much. Alright, so...
Actually, what happened is Atrox had TP, and he could have killed me here.
Yeah, it was a little bit risky. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But nice. Very, very nice roam. Typically not something you really want to do too often with Tristana, like miss that much farm for a roam, but again, that situation specifically was quite high percentage, so I don't mind it. Okay. Would be good to get a ward out relatively soon here. I mean, Rumble doesn't have the best gank threat, but Kiana is hitting 6. Yeah, look, if I'm going to nitpick, personally, I think you're missing warding windows, like here as well. Same thing, when the wave is coming out. You don't want to shove then ward. You want to ward as the wave is coming out, right? That way you can actually safely utilize this. Because even here, I mean, you probably would have been a hell of a lot more safe knowing that you would have had a side to lean onto. And on top of that, even here, when Kiana was starting to get into your face, you wouldn't have been as afraid, right? You probably could have even just stood your ground. But I think a part of you was a little bit afraid here of the Rumble.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And the biggest problem that I'm noticing right now, because of the roam and now because of all these little, you know, mistakes, you're just missing a lot of farm. And as you know, as a Tristana player, you can't really afford to get behind and farm. Your farm is absolutely crucial. But okay. Trying to look for a plant. Can't quite find one. It looks like here you got a little bit tunnel visioned on what was happening topside rather than adapting to what your jungle was doing. Was that correct?
Yes, I think so.
Because in reality,
it happens
right?
often with me.
Oh, this happens often.
Yeah, I think so.
Because in reality, if we'd actually been directing attention to our Udyr, we would have actually noticed that Udyr spotted the Rumble. Therefore, Kiana can easily come through here and collapse. So you need to actually walk through here, defend your Udyr, and then we can go back to mid after. But yeah, it didn't look like you were aware of all that information. Bit of a disaster there. Okay, there's a Kiana R. That's unbelievably big for us. Part of me also thinks I don't think you're really able to use your E on the tower when there's only 2 minions there, right? Because Kiana only feels threatened to not E onto you when she knows that all the minions are, like, the minion wave is quite large. Because then what you could do, you could just stand here, stand your ground, and then what you could do, go back to the wave, because then she'll be missing a lot of farm, you know. But she's not really missing much farm by going for this trade. She's only missing what, like literally 2 caster creeps. It doesn't fucking matter. So I think in this scenario, given the size of the wave, what you're better off doing is actually holding your E, simply auto-attacking the tower without your E, and then if Qiyana jumps onto you, I mean, you can have your E for the trade, right? And that's why she fundamentally feels like so okay for this trade. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, we're in a bit of a tricky scenario here. Yeah, we got ourselves too low. And in reality, this was probably a reset angle, given how low you were. So, what was the main reason for staying here? Was it because you wanted a particular amount of gold, or you just felt as though you just genuinely felt as though you could stay with this amount of resources?
So yeah, I think like Tristana basically has 2 big power spike in early game, which are Non-Quiver and Berserker, and I just wanted to go for Berserker.
Ah, okay. So you wanted 1100. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of that, to be honest, is a byproduct of you kind of, you know, hitting that tower with only the 2 minions, so...
Yeah.
Okay. So bot lane's kind of going even. Top lane's struggling a little bit, but just doing okay. I mean, Malphite's going to provide utility regardless. And Uridir's kind of doing his thing. Tristana actually now has a Dirk, so we've got to be quite careful. Qiyana has a little bit of move. Wouldn't surprise me if she's moving bot side. Okay, looks like Malphite does a pretty good job topside. We don't know where Rumble is yet. Looks like Udyr actually wants to play for the Rift. It's quite hard for you to actually trade here without your opponent plating. I feel like you're in a bit of a shitty situation right now. You're in a bit of a power trough. It actually seems like Qiyana's quite good into Tristana, to be honest. Like,
Well, it's like I feel like I should take a bigger lead in the early game, and then she isn't so strong.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, even again, maybe I'm trying to, you know, one thing that I'm really thinking about here through this game is, was that top lane roam even worth it? You know, because yeah, you got the kill, but you did lose quite a bit of farm for it, you know, and then Qiyana ended up having an XP lead on top of you, you know, so I don't know, maybe that's something we can look at after. I can definitely see how warding is a bit of a problem for you. Okay. You got to remember as well, when you're playing pressure champions, like, you know, whether it's a Rumble, whether it's a Galio, whether it's a Tristana, it doesn't really matter. You know, warding isn't just for you, it's for your team. Like, if you can gather information about Rumble's whereabouts for other people, it's going to help you massively. And just as I say that, we die. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, they're punishing your you know, your poor warding, and you just said you had no flash, and you had to use your ultimate onto the counter, and because you're versing a high threat, you know, mid laner that requires you to use your ultimate. I mean, it's just the easiest gank. So just something to keep in mind. Your warding definitely needs to be refined a little bit here. Okay, walking towards Kraken.
Oh, this was bad.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really think this is that bad, because to me it looks like it actually looked like the Malphite was going to be dead no matter what. So I would actually rather try and kill the Ezreal and then turn on the Rumble. I mean, and I actually wouldn't have anticipated that Ezreal could actually E and flash. It looks like he E'd and flashed, did he? No, he just
I'm not
flashed.
sure because he had no mana. I think he just flashed actually.
Right, he just flashed an insanely big range. Yeah, so I don't
He's
really.
probably got
Yeah.
presence of mind from the kill. Mana back.
Yeah,
That makes
true.
sense. I was gonna say, makes sense. But I don't really see this as a bad play. I think it makes sense given the information you had at the time.
I think it's bad because I should realize that my team is low and that if I don't help them, they will die, you know? Like, I could have saved Kaisa and Milio here.
Yeah, but how do you know that they're gonna die to Rumble? You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Well, it was obvious, I think. Like, if I look HP and stuff.
I feel like it's typically my philosophy in solo queue is to kill the person that is killing your team. I totally resonate. In this very specific situation, the way my mind works is that this guy's dead anyway. Nothing you do is going to save this guy. And I get that this guy are low. But to me, Rumble isn't a champion that is like great at cleaning up everyone. Like, you have no mobility. I don't view this as a champion that's like, oh my god, this is like a Samira, and then she's going to jump there, and then she's going to go there. No, it's like, I mean, I see where you're coming from, and yeah, look, I mean, if that's the way you want to frame it, I feel like for me personally, it's a very tough call, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's an easy call at all. At least me and my intuition would tell me, well, I mean, I can kill the Ezreal, they can just adapt. I mean, Kai'Sa could have ulted better as well. I mean, it's really fucking close. And they actually chose to fight that. They could have kited out as well. They just chose to fight that. So, I mean, it's a very, very hard call to make.
Ah, so close.
Okay, we stay for the plates. Of Kraken.
Oh. No.
Get our base cancelled a few times. Oh, that's really well played by Lulu here to stop your recall. And that's something you got to anticipate with support. They're going to push you all the way back, especially when they know you're off tempo. How many seasons have you been Master?
I've been Master since last season.
Okay. And was that initially with Tristana as well? That was like the champ that really kind of got you to...
Oh no, last season I was Vladimir OTP.
A Vlad OTP. Ah, okay. So, but then this season you just dropped it all together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very drastic change. Literally from like the lowest wave clear champ in the game to the highest wave clear champ in the game. Okay. What made you make that change?
Well, I think two reasons. Like the first one is Vladimir was kind of weak and boring in the game. And second reason is I wanted to play, you know, with teammates, you know? Like in 5v5.
Okay.
And Vladimir isn't really good for this.
No. Okay, interesting. Oh, you mean in 5v5, like, I mean, like, competitive?
Yeah, like I go with friend, and I make
okay.
a team, and I play with other team, you know?
Oh, okay, nice. Interesting.
It's not really competitive. I mean, I don't know because depends what you call competitive.
Yeah,
Solo
yeah.
queue is competitive. in a
Yeah,
way.
like, you mean like a just like a local
Aww.
league?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What?
And how many years out of interest were you of Vlad One Trick?
2 years, I think.
3 or 2?
2.
2, okay. And did you always main mid or did you main another role?
I used to be jungle. Then I was top, and then I went mid.
Interesting. And Vlad, it was a pure Vlad OTP, or was it just, you know, that was just your main and you played other champs as well?
Well, it was my main, and sometimes I was getting bored, and I had no, how to say, I was playing random champion, which is bad,
Okay.
but I was just doing that sometimes.
Okay. Okay, so one of the things that we haven't been able to do this lane, which is very, very frustrating, is that we haven't been able to actually W forward. In my experience playing Kiana and just even watching this, the biggest thing that typically you want to do into Kiana's, especially if you feel healthy enough, is you want to be able to W on top of them aggressively. Because they've used their grass Q aggressively, right? Now, this is a very, very close one. Because in this scenario right now, Kiana's actually in the middle of the lane. So Kiana actually has no R. There's no R angles here. There's nothing for her to... nothing for her to actually R you into. And on top of that, she actually just used her grass element. And it's actually very difficult for her to take a grass element because she's so far away from the bushes. One of my favorite things to do, whether it's playing Cassia or... or even Yone, whatever it might be, is when they use their kind of aggressively and they kind of trade onto me, with their grass Q. If they're standing in the middle of the lane, try to trade into them. So stand your ground and W forwards. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one. It would obviously be a very close limit test, right? Because you don't have your bone plating.
Far away, so
but you've got to keep in mind that Kiana, I don't know, it'd be very, very close. It'd be extremely close because what you could do is you could W, E, auto R, or auto R, and she's borderline dead. So, something that you want to consider in this matchup moving forward is staying healthy enough such that when she does look onto, or maybe when you do have your bone plating, just W aggressively rather than walking backwards. Something to keep in mind.
I feel like a similar thing happened to this when she used her E on turret before, like previously, and the Kiana E'd on top of her.
Yeah.
But when she did that, the Kiana only had rock. So if she actually just holds E and uses it on Kiana when she jumps there.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I said before.
There was a lot of things happening in this game where she didn't have grass.
That's what
you
I
have
was
to have
thinking
used
as well.
Kiana if she is not picking grass.
And that's why I'm thinking even here in these moments, sure, you're getting the tower damage, but at the same time, because you're using your E on the tower, you're basically allowing Kiana to just do this. I mean, if she doesn't have grass element, she can't ever do this. This is the trade-off in this matchup. Is that if Kiana actually... Because you got to think about it from a Kiana perspective here, right? It's kind of like mind game. It's like game theory or whatever. It's like, okay, if you use E on the tower, that allows her to trade onto you because she knows that you can't really win the trade. But... If you don't E the tower and hold your E, you're going to get less tower damage, but she can't ever trade onto you, and then you just dominate the lane. So a part of me feels like unless the wave is really big, you're probably just better off holding your E altogether, which is kind of what I said before. And then if she ever trades onto you, just stand your ground and E auto. Because think about it, there's no way for Kiana to get grass element in this situation ever. This is why this scenario is so hard for Kiana to trade. Unless she starts with grass Q. After that, I mean, after she walks out of it, she won't have it. But a lot of the time, this Kiana wasn't even starting with grass Q. She was literally E-auto-queuing you with just normal rock element. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So that's something that you probably want to play around with next time in this matchup. But probably be a little bit... I think you're disrespecting her ability to trade into your face. Okay. So bot lane win. We've got mid tower. We can back up our Udyr. You guys have a pretty strong mid jungle 2v2 right now. Lane assignments are likely going to get swapped up here. Excellent. What is it that you think you struggle with? Like, what is it that you think that holds you back from climbing further on your Tristana?
I don't know, something in team fight, I think. I'm not sure. I feel like I struggle to... Like, I know how to split push, right? But when it comes to fighting with Twisona, sorry, I often struggle to have high impact.
Okay. Now this is very, very interesting what you're doing here. Walk me through this. So are you hoping that Kiana basically just cues the wave and gives you an all-in?
Yeah, I was waiting for her to do so,
Right.
but she was smart. So.
Because the way I also view this scenario is that, you know, we all know the entire team is topside this entire time. Like from here onwards, because they're all moving topside. So, you know, this is a huge window where you can just like siege pretty hardcore on bot side with tier 2. So I'm going to keep in mind. Okay. So now we've got 2 items. We're incredibly strong here. We've got decent front line as well for you to DPS, which is going to make your team fighting a hell of a lot easier. You need to be moving through mid. This is very interesting. So, from what you're doing from a macro perspective, walk me through. What are you doing here? What's your intention?
So basically, I wanted to contest Sidwave because I think we can fight right now. I think we're stronger.
You mean mid wave?
So no, the Drake.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so, well, I was just trying to position myself and, you know, fish for maybe someone who comes.
Right.
Try to one-shot him.
Okay. Well, the downside of what you're doing is that it's harder for your team to now get control, right? Because you're on bot side. So the way you got to view it is that, yeah, sure, you know, you're in a quote-unquote okay position to make a pick, but there's a trade-off for you trying to make a pick. Because now you're kind of split from the team before the dragon is going to spawn. In my opinion, given the identity of your composition, I mean, you've got 2 mega tanks right now. I don't really see how you guys lose. I mean, I think a front to back, you guys are going to win every time. I mean, as long as Rumble doesn't get like an incredibly good R and Kiana doesn't get incredibly good R, I think you guys are going to win front to back. I think it's a bit weird to be playing for a flank, especially given that your team is struggling to get control in a game where you have double tank. I think what makes way more sense is directly out of base. I mean, look, you can maybe go bot here for one wave, regroup mid, and then try and get control through mid together. Like move up through here, loop around, and go through mid together. I think that would probably, because now look at that, they have full control over that area. What are you going to do about it? Your team is just now running around the map like headless chickens and be like, oh, we can't contest, so we've got to play for the Baron. So, okay.
I think this is where it went wrong.
Emilio gets one shot. I mean, this is a very, very shitty Baron call for multiple reasons. Number one, it's so obvious. It's so obvious that we're doing Baron because we haven't even attempted to contest the Baron, the river. I mean, the Dragon River. It's like, look at it from their perspective. It's like, well, what the fuck? They haven't even showed on bot river at all. They haven't shown on midwave really at all. The Uda's kind of been missing for ages, and then randomly, you know, like, no one's around here. And then, and you guys don't even have the fastest Baron because you're not even there anyway. So, to me, it's way too telegraphed again. Like, I think that if you guys had moved in, got a little bit of vision, moved back, and then moved over there, then it'd be a lot harder for them to come to that conclusion because they wouldn't really know where you are. So, again, a pretty shitty macro call, but I think a lot of that is stemming off the back of you not really knowing what your identity was in that scenario. So, here we go.
I mean, I do agree with you, it was shit. I think, like, I was wondering what the hell my team was doing. But for some reason I didn't ping them back. I think I should have.
Now it's a very hard scenario here. Now it looks like Kiana does an excellent flank. Like you guys have an amazing out in the open fight as well through mid. I mean, they have probably arguably a better river skirmish than you guys. Just, I mean, with Kiana being able to get a flank and all. Yeah, it seems as if Kiana gets a flank and gets onto your Kai'Sa, it's going to be very, very hard to win fights. So something we're going to have to keep an eye out in this game is, you know, keeping an eye on that Kiana and making sure that Kiana doesn't get onto the back line. Just being aware of that. This is a very, very hard game for you to split push. You do realize that, right? Because the enemy can just, like, they're getting full control and they have pretty good pick with the Kiana. So even though your bot getting the wave in, you're not really doing anything. Like, you're not getting a tower. You're not really doing anything. Like, Tristana, in my opinion, I mean, there are probably scenarios where you can be a split pusher, but I don't really see this as a scenario where you can be a split pusher. Like, you can't get the tower under Aatrox's face, in my opinion. And I just think that it's too volatile. Like, it's so hard for your team to play the game when they have no control. You have a very classic, again, like I said, front-to-back team fighting composition. I disagree with you split pushing this game massively. What I would actually prefer you do all the way back here, is just shove out the side and then move mid. Just move mid. And just start getting control over the area and just start looking for something. You have a Malphite, you know, you're really strong, get control, and then do something that way. I just feel like it's going to be very hard. Like, the room for error from your team for you playing the side lane is extremely high here.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
And not to mention, you don't even have TP, whereas Aatrox does. So if a fight breaks out, what are you going to do about it? And now a fight breaks out.
Well, I was just hoping my team wouldn't fight, but yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, you split push. The only thing they can do is try and stall.
Yeah, I just tried to go for the desperate move, but...
Okay. So, with where you're at, so, well, I just want to butcher your name. Wiosna? Wiosna? How do I say your name again? Sorry.
Viosna, I guess.
Viosna. Okay. There are... Okay, I just want to give you some context to understand... So you understand where you're at as a player, okay? So essentially, from what I can tell, you are a textbook master player. You are literally a textbook master player to the T. And what I mean by that is that, I mean that in the nicest way possible. And I think it's, you know, it makes your journey very clear is that I just want to give you an understanding, and you've probably heard me say this, of what the climb actually, what the whole master plus climb is really about. Most people get to master and low master with having a very clear idea about their own champion. They understand really well what they want to do. They have a great understanding of their champ's identity. They also usually pretty good mechanically. Mechanics are never really an issue. You know, I would argue sometimes they do have some inconsistency problems with fundamentals, but it's not like terrible. It's like, you know, there's always some improvement there, but fundamentals can be brushed, it can be refined a little bit in terms of consistency. A lot of the time, they do have matchup understanding in their 1v1. Yeah, and they know how to do their job. They know how to do their job as an individual. And that's what gets them to this rank. They're better at their champ than this person is at their champion individually. Right? The problem is that this only gets you so far, because now at this rank, everyone knows how to play their champion. Everyone knows their champ's identity. Everyone is in the same boat. So the differentiating factor can only come from one or two places usually. You either need to be very good in lane and, you know, mechanic